guys. Welcome to Heal, Survive, and Thrive. We have a great episode today. I'm super excited. But before we dive in, I have a question for you. Do you feel stuck, waiting for an explanation, waiting for an apology, waiting for something that you know, quite frankly, will never come? Do you replay conversations? Are you hoping for that person to maybe come back? Listen, I know how painful all of this is that you're going through because I've been there myself. And that's why I created my breakup recovery course. I am very excited to offer this to you. And right now we are actually doing 50% off. And this is a limited offer. So if you are really serious about learning how to detach emotionally, let go, and rebuild, I urge you to click the links down below and use the code SPRING at checkout. So if you are tired of waiting for closure and ready to move on because you know you're not going to get it from this person, healing and rebuilding starts today. Click the links down below. But I want to welcome everyone back. We're talking about how to really heal when you never got the closure. I think if we're dealing with someone who's narcissistic, we can all agree that we're not going to get the apology. We're not going to get the recognition. This is something I hear all the time. If I could just get answers, if I could just understand, I maybe be able to move on. I need them to acknowledge what it is that they did before I can move on. I just need to know why. Why did they do this? How could they do this? Here's the truth. Closure isn't something someone is going to give you. That's the truth. I know that, period. That is the truth. It's something you will give yourself. It might feel good to get all of that you want met. It might feel good to hear someone be a human being and actually feel remorse for what it is that they've done, but it's not going to help you to heal and move on. It's absolutely not. So in this episode, we're going to break down a few things. First, we're going to tackle the why you even crave the closure, because really the closure does come down to craving some kind of humanness and the illusion of what we think closure actually will do for us. We're also going to really focus on how to stop obsessing over the why, because the why is something that very much keeps us stuck and then we don't ever really move on. The last thing is how to give yourself closure and finally move on. And I'm going to teach you all about that as well. So by the end of the episode, you'll have an understanding of why closure is a choice, not a conversation. So let's kind of dive into all of this because it's going to be a biggie. So let's talk about why your brain wants closure so badly. The human brain is wired to seek patterns and resolution. It doesn't like unfinished stories. It wants answers. That's why if you've ever struggled with anxiety, you know that the why, the what if is constantly going on because it wants concrete resolutions. When you don't get a real breakup conversation or a clear explanation, your brain goes into overdrive. It's trying to fill in the blanks. That's why you replay conversations, you stalk your ex on social media, or you keep hoping that they'll reach out. I had a client who texted her ex just to get some kind of an acknowledgement. She didn't even really want him back. She just wanted the text. She wanted the acknowledgement. She really wanted basically that she mattered. She just wanted to hear him say, "I'm sorry for how I ended things. I'm sorry for what I did." But every time he ignored her and it made her feel worse because first she was trying to get something from someone that was never going to be capable of being that empathetic or human to her. And that's the cycle. You think closure will heal you, but the longer you chase it, the more you stay emotionally hooked to someone who has absolutely moved on and who has no desire nor capability to be human. So you have to ask yourself, is it closure you want or is it validation? Tricky one, huh? Well, actually, it's not tricky, but isn't it kind of obvious? Do you need them to confirm your worth? Or do you already know deep down that you deserve better and that this is about them picking you, being human with you? Now let's just play this out. Let's say that you did get closure. Imagine they sat down and they gave you a full detailed explanation of what they did, why they did it, how they did it, everything gets answered. Would that actually make you feel better? Most people think it would, but in reality, it wouldn't change what already has happened. Your heart is already in pain. So if they said, I met someone else, that's why I did it, it would still hurt. If they said, I wasn't in love with you anymore, you would still feel rejected. If they said, I didn't know how to be in a relationship, it still wouldn't bring them back. Nothing would change. So I want you to think about reading a book, for example. When you've read a book, by the time you've read that book, you know the ending. But if you keep flipping through the pages trying to make sense of something, but no matter how many times you read it, the ending is still the ending. You know what the ending is going to be. So instead of rereading the past and what it is that they did, you need to start writing the new story, which is, I understand what this book is about. I have accepted that this is the ending to this book. Now I have to go out and start writing a new book. I have to start meeting new characters, meeting new people, creating a life for myself. Like, you are the storyteller of your life. And so you designing a new book for yourself should feel exciting and empowering. It shouldn't be, I'm going to reread this book over and over again and just hope that the ending is different. That is crazy town. If you've just tried for a really long time to get answers and you're just not getting them because, of course, this person is incapable, you have to put the book down and just accept what the ending is. Because the addiction is wanting the ending to be different when you know already how it's going to look. If you're tired of feeling stuck and replaying the past, it's time that you really take action. And this is very hard to do when you're doing it alone, because you're addicted to pain to some extent. And this is where you really sometimes need to sit and have a conversation with not only someone who's been there, but someone who can actually help you to move on for good. No more obsessing, no more waiting for closure, no more wasting time on someone who, number one, isn't right for you, and number two, is never going to give you what it is that you need. This is where my private coaching really comes into play. With one-on-one support, when you talk to me one-on-one, we're going to work on a lot of things. First, we're going to break any kind of an emotional attachment that you have. That's going to be gone. You're going to understand self-parenting, which is huge, not just towards like healing and moving on, but creating a plan for yourself and really writing that book. So your healing doesn't have to take forever. You just have to get unstuck. And that's what working one-on-one does. And it does it very quickly, but spots are limited. So if you are really eager to do this and you're ready to take this seriously, I urge you to click the links down below. If you're not just wanting them back, you just want that conversation, how do you create a conversation for yourself? Like, how do we start to give ourselves closure, essentially? And here's what you need to do. Number one, you need to decide that the way they left is closure. That is your closure. So if they ghosted you, if they cheated, or maybe they left without an explanation, that is your answer. That's it. You don't need to know why they did it. Any of the questions that you could possibly be asking yourself, you don't need to know. So stop searching for meaning in their actions. Well, they never had parents that loved them. Probably not. Well, they're narcissistic. They don't know how to be human. Absolutely. Their actions tell you everything that you need to know about who they are and how they felt about you. Now, that isn't a knock on you that you weren't good enough for them. That is a knock in their inability to actually be able to have a relationship with another human being. We often see that the treatment that someone gives us as rejection, it's instead of seeing it as rejection, I want you to flip it for a second. I want you to see it as redirection. So rejection is redirection, because what you actually want in life, you're not getting by going down this road. And so you're being redirected. And it's painful, because if you're just used to going down a road and this is what you did every single day and you're comfortable with it, even though you know it's not good for you, being redirected is not something that's going to feel comfortable in the very beginning. Rewriting your story and your next book is going to be a little uncomfortable in the beginning. But what if this was happening for you? This is literally what is happening. This is all happening for you, but instead you're very uncomfortable. You're not happy with the fact that this is happening because you thought it was going to look like X, Y, and Z. And so you're kind of struggling to accept what's happening. And like I said, the redirection is something that is very hard to do. But if you knew this relationship ending was actually leading you to something better, how would you start to see this differently? Would you see it differently if you knew without a shadow of a doubt that this is what your future is going to look like and it's going to be way better? Would you start to look at this like breakup recovery period of your life different? Or would you start to look at it the same? The next thing that I want you to really think about when we're talking about closure and giving yourself closure is you kind of have to close the loop here. So you have to delete messages. We're not leaving doors open that need to stay shut. So we can block them. We can ignore them. We don't need to talk to them. We can delete messages. We can throw away cards. I loved you so much. This was the best year of my life. That we can leave all of that behind, because you moving on is about starting over, but you have to believe that you deserve better than what you got. So it really starts with rebuilding your self-worth again. And that's what coaching is all about. And that's what we're working on, is the inner self. You understanding who this person is or wanting those explanations, I can give it to you all day long. But if you're addicted to being in the cycle of wanting an answer that you already have gotten, but still wanting more, now you're just in an addictive cycle. Now, before we wrap up, let me leave you with this, because this is important. You don't need closure from them. You need closure from yourself. The way they left was the closure that you actually needed. What they did had absolutely nothing to do with you. You have everything that you need right now to heal and rebuild. It's within you. It just needs to start coming up. And the only way it starts to come up is when you start really working on yourself. This is about you choosing yourself. If you really feel like you want more than what you got, I hate to tell you, you have to put the work in. You have to, otherwise you're just going to repeat the same patterns over and over again. If this episode really helped you, please share it with someone who you think could possibly benefit from it as well. And don't forget, we have group coaching also going on as well, and spots are open for that. If you were looking for affordable coaching, I will put the links down below. We have our breakup recovery course, which is 50% off using code SPRING, and that's a limited offer as well. So we have a lot of different tools for you to really use that will help you along your journey wherever you're at. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you in the next episode.